a lot of people might not want to hear this, but my personal beliefs and my personal experience is that when I turned 18, I got arrested for possession of marijuana. And I had a friend at the time. I was in several bands at the time.
Okay.
And I had a friend who was like, hey, try this pill. It only stays in your system 3 days. Your probation officer will drug test you,
Oh,
So,
you'll pass it. Okay.
so it only stays in your system less time. Take this pill. That's how I got started.
Okay, and that was a oxycodone or something.
Yeah, it was Lortab,
Okay.
oxycodone, hydrocodone,
Right.
anything really.
Hello and welcome to our third episode of Living Room Politics. Today we're out in the field. We're out in Wise County, Virginia, and we're here with Zack Mullins, who's a Wise County native. So Zack, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, like you just said, I was born and raised in the area. Lived here my entire life. I did move away once. Went to Florida a couple years ago and had a bad experience. Ended up having a seizure while driving down there. And was told when I went to the ER that I had a mass on my brain, in my occipital lobe. And I ended up having the tumor removed about 2 weeks after that. It was really sudden. And then about 2 weeks after that, I had another surgery due to infection in the spinal fluid. So that brought me back home. I was doing in-home care for 6 weeks. Couldn't drive, couldn't work for 6 months. Didn't have insurance.
Right.
Had to file bankruptcy due to all the medical bills.
How old were you?
I was 24 at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was pretty rough. And
Yeah.
not only that, I suffered from addiction for a long time. So about 2 years after my health issues, I got clean February of 2015. So February makes 3 years of being clean, and it feels good.
Congratulations. Yeah.
I'm on the Suboxone program,
Okay.
which I hate to say this, but I've seen a lot of doctors' offices really take advantage of their patients when it comes to Suboxone and Subutex and those kinds of treatments.
Right.
A lot of people I knew and have known, they don't get tapered down like they're supposed to.
Yeah. So give our viewers a little background of what the Suboxone program is.
Okay, so the Suboxone program, when I started it, it's for opiate treatment. I think they also use it for alcohol treatment. I started it in February of 2015, and I was on 12 milligrams a day starting off.
Okay.
I'm down to 1 milligram a day, 4 days a week, nothing 3 days a week.
Okay.
I go every 4 weeks, and he tapers me down every 4 weeks.
Okay.
And it's been a life changer for me.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And is that the sublingual tablet that you
It is.
take? Okay.
It is.
So that's generally the less addictive version, right?
I mean, you can still abuse
Right,
it.
right.
I've known people to, abuse it quite
Right.
regularly.
Even the treatment for addiction can be abused.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so that requires close monitoring with a doctor, so
Yes.
they can gradually ratchet you down, right?
Yes, exactly.
So if someone doesn't have access to a doctor regularly for whatever reason, it's much easier to
yes.
get. Right.
Addiction in this area is one of the biggest problems in this area, along with education, I would say. Jobs declining. But the addiction, I think we have to address that issue in the area.
Yeah.
Big time.
No doubt about it. So did you, was your difficulty started because of that procedure, or was it?
No.
Okay.
I was an addict well before that happened.
Okay.
A lot of people might not want to hear this, but my personal beliefs and my personal experience is that when I turned 18, I got arrested for possession of marijuana. And I had a friend at the time. I was in several bands at the time.
Okay.
And I had a friend who was like, hey, try this pill. It only stays in your system 3 days. Your probation officer will drug test you,
Oh,
so,
you'll pass it. Okay.
so it only stays in your system less time. Take this pill. That's how I got started.
Okay, and that was a oxycodone or something?
Yeah, it was Lortab,
Okay.
oxycodone, hydrocodone,
Right.
anything really.
Right.
But that's how I got started.
Okay.
And
just from one pill.
And often I wonder if that happened to me, if I was on probation and I was persuaded to try a different drug because of my probation, how many other people have been persuaded by their friends or peers to, try something different,
Right. So that's funny. It's almost like marijuana is not naturally a gateway drug, but because of the way we make it illegal, it became one for you because
due to the black market
and due to you were being tested for marijuana, which lasts longer.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So if that hadn't been the case to begin with, maybe it wouldn't even happen.
Maybe.
Right.
Who's to say?
Right.
That's my personal beliefs on the matter.
Right. And so from there, you just pills?
Mostly, yeah.
Okay.
There for a little bit, it was anything and everything. Mm-hmm. To all the addicts out there, I just want to say you have to make that first step. No one can do it for you. You need to want it.
Right. And so how long do you think it took to actually be hooked on these? Because I know that in my personal experience, it can be very fast.
To be honest, I can't really give you a time.
Okay.
Because I was doing it so frequently, so I guess it was pretty damn fast.
Okay. And how easy was it to get these?
Oh, super
pills?
Easy.
Yeah.
Super easy. They're everywhere around here.
And most of those people, someone that gets it from a doctor to begin with, and then it gets out in the community, or?
Yeah. Most of the times,
yeah. Yeah. So people have some prescription, some pain, and they just get a ton of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, Wise County, I was looking at some data the other day, has one of the highest number of filled prescriptions for opioids in the state of Virginia.
Doesn't surprise me.
Okay. And why do you think that is? Do you think there's a reason behind it, or just sort of happened?
Well, I've read a lot on the subject, and I see that drug companies are pushing doctors to write certain prescriptions.
Right.
It's probably a different number of factors, a couple different factors, I would say. I don't know.
And so it's pretty widespread among, is it a particular age group, young people, old people, or is it pretty?
With my experience, it was every age group.
Okay.
Every age group. A lot of younger people and a lot of older people too. But now I'm seeing a lot of the younger generation I work with aren't so much into that.
Okay.
And it's good to see.
Yeah.
It's also strange for me to see in some sense.
Do you think it's because they're aware of it, of the addictive nature of it, or just?
Maybe. I know one girl I work with in particular, I know that her mother suffers from addiction, and she's in high school, and she's one of the strongest women I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
And so I see her as, seeing her mother go through addiction and just saying no to everything.
Right.
But when I was in high school, it was, not just opiates, there was anything and everything you could want, was around.
Right.
And it's not hard to find, Most of the addicts are functioning addicts.
Okay. Right.
I was a functioning addict for years. When I would tell people I worked with that if I could tell that someone did drugs, I would go ask them for drugs.
Okay.
And they'd be like, "What? I had no idea,"
Oh, okay.
It was that kind of thing. So
right.
They had no idea.
Obvious.
Yeah, it wasn't immediately obvious that I was on drugs.
Right. And with opioids, there's not necessarily a big physical change like with meth where you get bad teeth and stuff. Right. So it can be it's much easier to sort of get by with it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what a question I always ask folks is, if you had a magic wand and could get your congressman to do one thing, what would that be?
That one thing, I would say, to start thinking about the everyday man instead of, the 1%, as some would say. I just want someone to look out for me and people like me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's certainly lacking.
I feel like it is.
Yeah.
I feel like it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Zack Mullins. This was a great conversation,
Thank you.
We'll be seeing you soon.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.